Some lakes are ordinary bodies of water. Greywood Lake is not one of them. Locals claim it has moods. On some days, it's calm enough to mirror the sky perfectly. On others, the wind blows without warning, the water roughens, and a strange humming sound rises from below the surface, like the lake itself is breathing. No one can explain the sound. No scientific instrument has ever properly recorded it. But on November 3rd, 2019, something else happened at Greywood Lake. Something the town still talks about, but only in the careful, hushed tones of people who fear that repeating a story too clearly might bring it back to life. This is the story of Harper Flynn, a 32-year-old wildlife photographer who disappeared during a simple kayaking trip. She wasn't reckless. She wasn't impulsive. She wasn't the type who wandered into danger. And yet Harper managed to vanish. Not from a forest trail, not from a highway, but from the middle of a calm, open lake with no splash, no overturned kayak, no trace, except a single disturbing recording left on her camera. The town still doesn't agree on what the recording means, but everyone agrees on one thing. The water was far too still that morning. Harper Flynn moved to Greywood 3 years earlier, drawn by its quiet, its isolation, and its proximity to untouched nature. Her camera was never far from her hands. She had photographed wolves, migrating birds, even a rare albino deer during her first winter. Friends describe her as disciplined, organized, the kind of person who charged her camera batteries every night, the kind of person who checked weather conditions obsessively before heading outdoors. Her life was simple. An old cabin she renovated herself, a dog she adored, and a photography blog with a small but loyal following. On November 3rd, she planned to capture sunrise fog drifting across Greywood Lake. She texted her friend Maya the night before. "Fog advisory tomorrow, going out early, might get something good." Her last known message. Harper set out at 5:17 a.m., according to the timestamp on her security camera. She loaded her kayak onto her truck, secured her gear, and drove toward the lake. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. She was seen alone at the boat ramp at 5:42 a.m. by a retired couple walking their dog. They waved at her. She waved back. They watched her paddle out onto the lake, disappearing gradually into the thick, low fog. They assumed she reached the center of the lake. They assumed she would return before lunch. But when the sun climbed higher and the fog burned away, the lake was empty. Her truck still waited in the parking lot. Her phone was still in the glove box. Her dog was still at home, whining to be fed. Harper Flynn had vanished. The search began at noon. Rescue boats combed the lake. Drones swept overhead. Divers searched the shallows. Greywood Lake isn't huge. You can paddle across it in under an hour. If a kayak had overturned, it should have been obvious. But they found nothing. No red plastic hull, no orange paddle, no floating gear. By the afternoon, the local sheriff joined the operation. Deputies interviewed the retired couple again. "Did you hear anything?" "No." "Did she shout for help?" "No." "Did you see her kayak capsize?" "No." Nothing like that. She just went into the fog. Usually missing person cases have a starting point. A shoe, a backpack, a phone ping. Harper left the world without leaving breadcrumbs. Then on the second day of the search, a volunteer found something wedged between two rocks along the northern bank. Harper's waterproof camera. The memory card was intact. When investigators plugged it into a laptop, the room fell silent. There were 47 photos, fog, water, light rippling across the lake. Typical Harper shots, until the last 3. Photo number 45 showed a thin, unnaturally straight line of darker water cutting across the lake like a knife wound. Photo number 46 showed a circle of ripples forming behind her kayak, though she should have been alone. Photo number 47 showed something beneath the water. Not clearly, not fully, but the shadow looked wrong, too symmetrical, too smooth, too large. Some believed it was debris. Some believed it was a fish. Some believed it was the reflection of a bird flying overhead. But others, the ones who knew Greywood Lake better, recognized a shape they had only whispered about before. A curve, like a massive spine. Segments, like armor plates. And an eye. A single pale, lidless eye beneath the surface. The photos were unsettling, yes. But the most horrifying discovery wasn't visual. It was audio. The last video file, less than a minute long, captured a sound investigators couldn't explain. A low hum, deep, vibrational, almost like a voice speaking underwater, followed by Harper whispering, "Hello? Is someone there?" Then a sudden splash. The camera shakes, a gasp, and then silence. The video ends mid-breath. Greywood Lake is fed by underground springs, cold ones, silent ones. Locals have always avoided swimming in it. They claim the water feels heavier than normal. The temperature drops suddenly in certain areas. Boats sometimes drift. Even with the engine off, animals refuse to drink near the northern bank. Science has explanations for all of this. Density variations, thermoclines, underwater currents. But the folklore is older than science. Before Greywood was a town, the lake was called Rudan's Mirror, named after a legend passed down by the region's first settlers. A creature sleeps beneath the water. Not a monster, but a watcher. It stirs only when something disturbs its rest. Harper didn't believe in legends, but she did believe in documented patterns. Her journal, found on her desk at home, contained sketches of the lake and notes about sudden drops in sonar readings, areas where the water moved without visible cause. Twice, she wrote about hearing a hum coming from below, not across the surface. Investigators dismissed the notes as creative thinking, but Maya, her closest friend, remembered something else. A conversation 2 weeks before Harper vanished. They sat in a cafe. Harper stirred her tea absent-mindedly. Then she said, "I think something's under the lake." Maya laughed. "Like what? A monster?" Harper didn't smile. "I don't know what it is, but I've seen shadows that don't behave like fish. And the sound... Maya, I heard it again yesterday." "What sound?" She paused. It sounded like my name. When Maya asked her to elaborate, Harper shut down, suddenly embarrassed. Maybe she imagined it, maybe she didn't. But the entries in her journal stopped abruptly the day before she disappeared, ending with a single sentence. "If I'm right, I'm not alone out there." 3 weeks after Harper's disappearance, the lake froze for the winter. Greywood Lake rarely freezes completely, but this year the ice formed a strange pattern, a nearly perfect spiral, visible from drones. Some said it was just wind shaping the ice. Others, including a retired meteorologist, argued the pattern was too clean, too geometric. In the spring, when the lake thawed, another discovery surfaced. A section of Harper's kayak, a small piece of red plastic, washed up on the western shore. It hadn't been torn, as if from a collision. It had been cut. The edges were clean, smooth, almost polished. Divers searched again, nothing. Then the sheriff received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a USB stick. On it, a single audio file. Breathing. Water lapping against plastic. Harper whispering, "It's under me." A deep rumble. Her breath shaking, then, "Holy God, it's..." Static. The file ends. Forensic teams couldn't trace the envelope. No fingerprints, no DNA, no postmark. Someone wanted them to hear that recording. Someone who had additional evidence. Someone who hadn't come forward officially. The sheriff believed the sender was trying to help. Others believed the sender was involved. One deputy, Officer Renly, asked the question hanging unsaid in the room. If someone else was on the lake, why didn't they help her? No one answered. During the spring thaw, a specialized dive team arrived from out of state. Their equipment was better than anything local authorities had used. They didn't find Harper, but they did find something else. At a depth of 42 meters near the lake's northern edge, their sonar detected a massive structure, organic, curved, like a rib cage half buried in sediment. It was too big to belong to any known freshwater creature, too symmetrical to be natural rock, too smooth to be debris. One diver surfaced early, shaking uncontrollably. When questioned, he said only, "Something down there is awake." He refused to dive again. His report was never made public. 2 days later, the dive operation ended abruptly. The team packed up and left town without explanation. The official statement said, "There is no conclusive evidence of danger beneath Greywood Lake." But their eyes told another story. Every diver looked as though they had seen something they couldn't unsee. Most missing person cases end with grief and acceptance. Harper's case ended with fear. People avoid the lake now. Even tourists sense something uneasy in the air. Maya still visits Harper's cabin sometimes. She lights a candle. She reads old messages. She wonders about the last photo, the shadow beneath the water. What she doesn't tell anyone is that 2 days before Harper disappeared, she received a voice message, a low whisper. Harper's voice, trembling. "If something happens to me, don't let them say it was an accident. It wasn't the water. It was what's under it." Maya deleted the message out of fear. She regrets that every day. No one knows what happened to Harper Flynn. But strange things continue at Greywood Lake. Kayaks found drifting with no owners. Dogs refusing to go near the shoreline. Visitors claiming the water hums when you stand close. Ice forming in circular patterns not caused by wind. And once, just once, a fisherman swore he saw a pale, lidless eye open beneath the surface. Maybe Harper fell in. Maybe hypothermia took her in minutes. Maybe her kayak cracked on submerged debris. But these explanations don't fit. The clean cut in the plastic, the spiral ice formation, the sonar reading, the audio recording, the missing kayak, the diver who refused to speak, the shadow in the last photo, the hum dozens have heard across the lake. Something happened that morning, something that didn't want to be seen, something that may still be beneath the surface. So I'll ask you, what do you think happened to Harper Flynn on Greywood Lake? Did she encounter a creature locals whispered about for centuries? Did someone follow her onto the lake and use the legends as cover? Or did something unnatural rise from below? Something patient, something watching, something that woke when the fog settled over the water? What do you think really happened in this case? I want to hear your theory. Share your thoughts in the comments. Every opinion helps uncover another piece of the puzzle. And if you want more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter.